is the Glass Cannon Network.
Good evening and welcome back, everybody, to Get in the Trunk, Season 5, Episode 13. Episode 13. It's an auspicious number, 13.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13, as they say. What are some titles of... there's like, I feel like there's a lot of movies and TV shows with like 13.
The 13th Warrior.
13th Warrior.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Apollo
like
13.
20 of those.
Freaky Friday.
The 13th.
Or 13 going on 30.
13 going on 30.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And what it's all famous for, the 13th floor. Anybody ever see the 13th floor?
Yeah.
No.
That sounds familiar.
Oh, I thought you meant, do they exist in buildings? Because you know that's a thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was just, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a movie.
It is a movie.
Oh.
But it's a movie because it's a thing.
Yeah. But I've seen it in elevators. I've seen the 13th floor, like, actually in an elevator before.
I have many times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like some buildings do, some buildings don't. I'm really not sure who does it or why. But
Superstitious architects.
Were those buildings riddled with ghosts? Those that you're in? Is that,
yes.
just
Yeah,
haunted
there
all the
were
time?
several deaths in those buildings.
Yeah, the ones that have the 13th floor are fucked up. I would not go into those.
It is something that I would feel like would absolutely baffle future archaeologists.
Yes.
Right.
It's like,
Like, why don't you just leave a number out?
it skips from 12 to 14? It's like,
They're
what's
walking
happening?
on the stairs. They like walk up 14th floor. They walk down 12th floor.
What is happening?
It's like the night floors.
Yeah.
It doesn't succumb to reality. No, the 13th floor is a movie that actually came out, I'm seeing, in the same year as the 13th Warrior, funnily enough.
Weird.
It's kind of like a quasi sci-fi horror-ish movie led by Gretchen Mol is like the star of it. But yeah, it's got Vincent D'Onofrio and Dennis Haysbert. Remember Dennis Haysbert?
I love Dennis Haysbert. Oscar winner, Dennis Haysbert.
Anyway, it's
vaguely
great
remember.
90s cheese sci-fi horror. And so, yeah, it's kind of fun. I barely remember it. I saw it many, many years ago. But yeah. Anyway, episode 13. You're crossing over into some scary shit now compared to where you were previously, which has always been scary, but now a real turn last week, a real kind of end of a chapter and start of a new one. As we were getting ready to record, I believe Francis and Sydney were openly like, I took no notes last episode. I don't know what happened.
I did.
You did take notes?
I did.
So Francis is the only one that didn't do the
notes.
assignment.
I think I was just riveted the whole episode. I was like, I couldn't
Too
stop.
into it.
Good excuse, Francis.
I
You
was.
didn't
say-
take notes when you're in the theater watching the 13th floor.
Right.
It's like you're so into it.
My notes,
same
though,
thing.
Francis, if it's any consolation, are not helpful. They are not. It's as if I was in the mental hospital taking notes about what was going on. They are a crazy person's scrawlings.
Yeah. That's what my notes look like. It's like, I don't understand these at all.
There's so much info about demons, and there's a ton of links, and I just posted the links in my notes as if that would help. Like, I'm like, oh, I'll click on those later. I didn't.
Why did I keep misspelling person?
That's so good. Yeah, I can't even read it. I've got this notepad here that I take notes on occasionally. I'm so bad at notes in our games.
Yeah.
So bad
'Cause it's like
at
you just
taking notes.
Try and remember a name or like just random things. Like I have Ars Goetia written down.
Yeah.
But I have
Nice.
nothing else. I don't know what it means.
You wrote the
Hoping
words
that it would
Ars-
jog, the context would jog your memory when you come back to it.
I
But it's
hope
like,
so.
I don't know what this is.
I don't know what it means.
I mean, I do. but-
Joe, this is why being a GM, I think specifically for Delta Green, is so difficult because of moments like that where like Francis would just go, all right, Ars Goetia? And like look at you, Joe, to be like, and that is good note taking. And
this.
that is.
Yeah. So like,
Bottle
yeah,
cap.
it is an interesting concept. It's like, do I sit here as a handler and like punish players for not taking good notes. And I don't mean punish like hurt their characters. I mean punish like drag stuff out because they're not remembering things that their characters would obviously remember. But the other option, which I'm seriously considering for this campaign and the remainder of it, is just to tell you what to do at every moment because of the depth of knowledge that I have of everything, that your characters have of everything, that you guys would never remember. There are so many details, so many little things. So it's hard to like try to like spark a memory in a player's brain. Like, remember, this was so-and-so said that one time a year and a half ago. Right. You guys don't remember? Weird. But I don't want to seem like I'm spoon feeding you, but also to just be like, you don't remember. Skid does this in Legacy. It's tough. He's like, can you think of anything else that might help in this situation?
I know it's unreasonable to expect the players to remember a lot of this stuff. But I get frustrated because you spend as a GM, you spend so much time working on it and going over your own notes and the book and everything. And so it's just like, come on, you're so close. Just you want to toss underhand the softball. You know?
Yeah. So I'll say it for you. Yeah. But yeah, my terrible notes here. It's so funny. There are approximately 10 total lines of loose leaf paper. In those 10 total lines, there are 7 different things written down, and they are from 4 different games. It's just like a word or a name or a note, and I can't even say them because some of them are just like spoilery. But yeah, it's just so ridiculous. I'm so bad at notes. But that's okay. It is. I will give you guys a recap. Let's do a little recap of last week and the week prior, perhaps, to get you up to speed with where you are, because things have fundamentally changed hugely in our Impossible Landscapes campaign as of episode 12. You guys were doing research in the Dorchester House to try to find 2 missing patients, Michael Whitwer and Lyra Westover. You were put on this case by your handler, Agent Exeter, who you later found out was Dr. Elias Barbas, who you later found out was compromised and was by exposure to the unnatural, and that he was not working for Delta Green and gave you this mission totally on his own or with the help of the King in Yellow or something, and sent you into that hospital unofficially. So Delta Green doesn't know about this. Delta Green tells you to shut him down. You take care of Barbas and whack him. Delta Green comes, cleans up the evidence, and you guys decide alone that you need to figure out what happened. Well, 2 things mainly. What happened to those missing patients, because they are Delta Green agents, and how do you get free of this thing where, like, the scribe, a machine in Barbas's house, knows your identity somehow. It knows who you are. It knows who your bonds are. It knows your address. It knows Vicky's son's address at college. And so you're like, we need to kill everyone that is making this possible. And a lot of your clues are leading you back to the Dorchester House, and you get a sense that something is different at night. Ed Myler-Wist, a patient there, tells you that that he believes that Westover and Whitwer are there at night, that they're still in the hospital at night. They're just not there during the day. That's what makes them seem missing. So you guys make a plan to head back to the hospital at night. I'm going to put a little tension bed under this. You guys head back to the hospital at night to find out what's going on. You call Dr. Dallin. He says, yeah, come on by. You guys are law enforcement. Can't turn you away. Let's have a little meeting. And you guys return to the Dorchester House at sundown on this day. I don't remember the date. I think it's like September 3rd or September 4th. 13th. It's like Troy's birthday. September 13th.
September 13th.
It's not my birthday.
Troy, what did you do on your birthday in 2015? September 4th, 2015. I guarantee you were at Smith & Walensky.
I was. If it wasn't the 4th, it was the...
it might have not been on your actual birthday. Yeah, it's possible.
I want to see what day of the week that falls on, because that'll tell me everything I need to know. I can't figure it out. Let's just hold until I figure out exactly what day it was and what I was doing.
Very important.
While Troy figures that out, he's not taking notes on this anyway. As he said pre-show, quote, "I've never taken a note."
I just want to remember what Roger remembers. And
that's the best way to look at it.
If he doesn't remember it, I don't remember.
You guys return to the hospital at night, and you find it strangely empty. You go to move up to Dallon's office on the 3rd floor, and coming to grab you is a large, what looks like an orderly, who you now know it goes by the name Mr. Ed. And he, let's go back to roll 20 for a moment here. And I'll put you guys back on the thing. I moved some evidence around and added a couple things, but in the week between. So yeah, you can take a look. I started splitting onto the 2nd board. I think it's time we start using the 2nd board. So yeah, there's a photo that we showed of Mr. Ed, a photo of Dr. Maximo Friend. We'll get to that in a second. Deborah Carver. When you were attacked by Mr. Ed, you got into a scuffle with a whole bunch of orderlies, and you were quickly put down. And in the moment this began, all of your minds started to shift. All of your characters began having memories of a life that perhaps they had closed off from themselves, that had had just ignored what's the word for it? What they believed, the life they believed they were living might have been a lie. And in fact, they might have had these other events occur, and they might, in fact, be patients in the Dorchester House. You look down, you have no equipment. You have patient gowns on, and orderlies are swarming you, injecting you with tranquilizers, and putting you down for trying to fight back and get out of the hospital that you have been in for, as Dr. Friend told Bobby, 20 years. Ever since your exposure as a Delta Green agent to the night floors in 1995, you never recovered from that operation, is what he tells Bobby. Bobby has made up a life that he continued being an agent. Never happened. He made up that he was in Aleppo running a station in the CIA. Of course he made that up. There's no way Bobby's good enough to be a station chief in the Middle East. Get out of here with that shit.
Lies.
Vicky is horrified by this. I mean, to the point where she has no memory of ever having her son in this alternate world, and it is obviously eating her alive. She gets out from her room, out of her harnesses, says enough to Dr. Friend to just get him to go away, and she runs into Deborah Carver, who is a drug addict recovering there, who seems to know Vicky. Says, "Vicky, we're friends." Vicky says, "I don't know you." And then Vicky proceeds to head towards the men's ward to try to meet up with Roger, Bobby, and Neil. And that is when, jumping up to her in a frantic sort of eye-popping, is a patient, it seems, who thinks they may have perhaps killed someone. And Vicky, because of her deep research, recognizes the man's face as Asa Darabandi, the architect of the McAllister building, some 100 years ago nearly. We'll fade to black. And on that black screen, let's bring back some 9 Inch Nails. Closer. Starts hitting again. We hear it fading up. And as we fade up onto the scene, we see this warehouse party, live music jam, and we see Roger on the dance floor with Norma, tearing it up. And he seems to be in a haze. Perhaps these drugs are taking effect, whatever pill she gave him taking effect. He's a little bit out of his mind, and he's a little all over the place. And of course, in this sort of scrum of all these people dancing, he bumps a guy with like a collared shirt and a tie that's loosened, his sleeves rolled up, a little bit sweaty at the neck and armpits. And this guy bumps Roger, Roger bumps him, and this guy turns and is like, "Yo, man, watch where you going?" And like gives Roger a little push. And bam! Roger, one shot, explodes this dude's face. This dude's boys jump at Roger. We see Roger in this scrum, just like all these people. Oh, yeah. All this shit starts going down, and our camera fades up to the balcony of this place, and we see the reflected lights, the color LEDs kind of like flashing on the faces of those that are up above, and we see a small older man looking over the balcony and looking down with an emotionless face, and it's Mr. Kremensky, Bobby's Bond from 1995. He turns to two dudes in big suits. It's just like nods to them, and the dudes disappear out from behind Mr. Kremensky and start coming out. And the band doesn't stop. Music's still raging, and these bouncers start moving through to break up this fight. They're taking smaller people and just throwing them like they're rag dolls. But then comes Roger. Roger is no joke. These big dudes start grabbing Roger, and Roger is he's got some fight in him, and Roger just remembers the punches, the hits, as he starts getting double teamed and then triple teamed, getting punched in the back and the kidneys, and then bam, he hits the ground, and suddenly we still hear the music, but there's no lights, there's no dance floor, and there's no one else around. And Roger is garbed in a prison uniform of a prisoner on Rikers Island, and 3 guards are just beating him in a cell, just kicking him in the gut, punching him in the face, and that's when Roger wakes up. And he's in the hospital bed in the Dorchester House. And an orderly, small guy, has his hands on his restraints, and he's removing them. Roger wakes up, and the guy goes, "Oh! Sorry, Dr. Friend just told me to remove these. You feel okay?" And he's like pulling the straps off of your arm.
Yeah, just had a nightmare.
Okay. And he goes to the other one, releases it.
What's your name?
Here. Craig.
You new around here, Craig?
No, Roger. We've spoken before.
Right.
Listens to things, and then he just walks away. Like after he gets them all off, he just sort of nods and walks away. And
bye, Craig.
Bye, Roger. He goes around a corner. You've never seen his face before.
Yep.
And what do you do, Roger?
So I'm alone in this room.
You're alone in this room, yeah.
Just want to use my alertness to see if there's any obvious recording devices visible.
Okay.
Cameras. That is a critical 66 under 82.
Nice.
Yeah, you look around with a critical. I'll say you see what looks like a camera outside in the hallway, outside of your room, but there's nothing in your room.
Nothing in my room that I can see.
Nothing in your room that you can see.
What
you're
is in the room?
You're looking for any even seams.
Yeah.
Let's say you touch the side of your bed. You're looking for wires under the bed. You know what I mean? There's no indication of surveillance in this room.
Okay. So what's in there? Is it pretty, not like just a desk? What do we got?
Yeah, it's just a small end table with a little plastic rounded little vase with a little flower coming out of it.
Is there a window?
There is, yeah.
I'll get up and walk over to the window.
The window has big, heavy bars on it, and you look out the window, and it's nighttime. Go ahead and give me a search roll.
Great. 72 over 27.
The lights reflecting off the window make it hard to kind of see anything out there. It just looks like nighttime.
Am I wearing like a hospital gown with my ass hanging out the back?
Yep.
Is there like a pair of boxer shorts anywhere that I could cover up my situation?
You pull open some drawers, and yes, there's like in the end table are some drawers, and there's some folded plain white laundry in there. And there's a pair of underwear.
Because he woke up with a massive erection and wants to try and subdue it with the cotton.
From that dream?
From that dream, yeah. He always wakes up.
Yeah, I mean, what a turn on.
Masked, and he's just like, he's trying to tuck this thing down in there. Oh, boy. Holding onto the bars of the window. Son of a gun.
It's like trying to push it away from his own chin.
Every time.
It's really up there.
This is why you're looking for the surveillance. You don't want anyone to see this gigantic.
I don't want to cause a scene. They might try and take it away from me.
I'm sorry, sir. There's no weapons allowed.
All right, and then anything else in the drawers? And there's no regular clothes, like street clothes or anything, right?
No regular clothes, no street clothes. Yeah, they're all kind of like hospital-ish, cheap, like almost paperish like clothes in terms of the undergarments. The only thing that has like a nice cloth element to it is your robe.
Okay.
Your patient robe, gown.
Is there a mirror in the room or anything?
No.
Okay.
Extremely plain, white walls.
Okay, nothing sharp.
Nope.
Okay, and no shoes.
No, just slippers.
Okay. He'll put the slippers on and then walk over to the door and check the doorknob.
It's the door's open. Just like when that guy walked out, when Craig walked out, he left your door open.
All right, he will stroll out into the area beyond the door.
As you step out into the hallway, we see you turn to the left, and we see Neil is stepping out of his room for the first time since this incident with Dr. Friend. Where in Neil's incident, Neil told Dr. Friend that he was a rat in a maze. Dr. Friend said, "Don't say that about yourself." Neil said, "Don't undersell rats. They're very intelligent. And the only way out is through." To which Dr. Friend said, "Yes, you keep saying that. Have you found the way through yet?" And he seemed genuinely interested. And Neil said, "No, I'm still working on it." And so, Neil, your bonds have been removed by Craig, and you are able to walk out into the hall.
And I walk up to Roger. I feel like Neil is almost in he's reached some sort of weird serenity here that he hasn't had in a long time. And he walks up and he's just, "Roger."
Yeah. Hey, Neil.
Seems we've gotten ourselves in quite the pickle, haven't we?
Yep, it would appear so. We've seen worse, though.
We have, haven't we?
Yep.
And that's when, behind Neil, a little bit further down, Bobby comes walking around a corner. Bobby's interaction with Dr. Friend was like, "No, I'm not a patient here. I'm a Delta Green agent. I'm on an operation. There's something wrong with this hospital." Dr. Friend's like, "We've been working on this. You keep saying this. You're not an agent anymore. You haven't been for years." And Bobby's reluctant to disbelieve it. He took 5 points of sanity damage, as did Neil. Bobby, what happens when you come around the corner and see these two talking?
So Bobby comes around and sees Messiah and Mrema, and he's remembering. He's like, there's something that's not right. There's something that's not right, but he remembers what the doctor says, and he's trying to just hold it together and not lose his shit and not try and scream out like, "What's going on?" so he's very tentative, just looks at them, makes eye contact, and just gives a nod. Looks at Murnau. Murnau. And that's all he says. As if, like, asking if that means anything to him.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
He just wants to know if that triggers something in someone else or if it's just all in his mind.
So going back to last week, just moments ago, Dr. Friend, in your memory, Bobby, just moments ago, Dr. Friend told you gave everyone those code names. You started them on this idea that they were on a Delta Green mission with you. And you gave them code names. So yeah, you say Murnau, and what does Neil say?
Hello, Bobby. The walls are up, are they not?
Bobby looks around, looks back at Messiah Murnau. He says, yes, I think they are.
They are. It is good to see you. And he just kind of looks at them both and it's like, I think it's time we tried to find the cheese.
Okay.
And with that, let's go back to Vicky, who right outside where this is happening, in the open area, the men's sort of common area, Vicky was about to come in and have this very conversation with all of you when she was interrupted. Vicky, you realize this man who says, I think I killed someone, is Asa Darabandi.
Man, Vicky is trying to play it so cool. She is trying not to absolutely freak out that this is Asa Darabandi, who she has seen paintings of and photos of and read about. And she takes a second, and also mechanically, she's doing okay on sanity. I have rolled really well for her sanity checks.
Yep.
So I think she is just going into this state of weird calmness. You know, she's shutting down part of her brain to survive this situation right now. And she kind of blinks at him and she goes, Asa.
Yes, I'm sorry. I don't know. Did you see me go anywhere last night? Did you see me leave or anything?
Was it, she's trying to remember. Was it the little girl?
And he starts crying into his hands. It's it couldn't be. It had to be a dream. It had to be a dream. And as his hands cover his face, you see that his hands are bloated and cracked from extensive exposure to water. They've been underwater for hours and hours and hours and hours. And he's just it can't be.
He's so close to her because he came right up to her, and she kind of takes a step back from him, and she goes, let's sit down, Asa. Let's not make a scene because we don't want anybody coming over to talk to us about it. So why don't you and me sit down and you can just tell me what happened. Just tell me, and it's okay.
So he's getting upset. It's kind of a little bit loud. You're just calm down. Tell me what happened. You can see now, out of the side of your eye, through a window, you see Bobby, Neil, and Roger are all just beyond the door on the other side of the common room, into their ward where their rooms are. You see the three of them, and Asa is still kind of crying and backing up. What do you do?
She's also backing up, and she goes, I'll be right back. Just stay calm. We'll talk about it. Just don't go anywhere, Asa. Just wait a second. And she kind of runs over to the door, ash cheeks blowing in the wind.
Never even thought to look for underwear.
Yeah, we're all
she doesn't give a shit. Pushes open the double doors. Hey! Hey, you guys!
Hey.
Bobby's excited. Like there's another person that this can't be fake. This is actually happening. Maybelline?
Yeah. Are you okay? Is everyone okay? She goes up to Roger. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Good to see you. And he just turns and goes to the common area.
Just like slowly walks away from everyone.
In Roger's mind, like, I was just reading how many POWs there were during the Gulf War, and there was only 25. I mean, only 25. It sounded horrible. What they did go through, they called it the Baghdad Biltmore. The 25 of them that were went through horrible torture. They said they followed the Geneva Convention for about 15 minutes and then stopped. And it was just like one guy, there was a story about he had to eat his own scabs because they were starving him. It's like the only thing he could do to like survive. And
I remember there was one guy, the first pilot they shot down, like they put him in there and they forced him to do like propaganda for them.
It's wild. Like, and so while Roger was not a POW during the Gulf War, I imagine as a Green Beret, he was trained extensively on what to do if captured. And so I think Roger in his mind is treating this as he is a POW. And so he is trying to be like as calm and cool, as collected as possible, while studying everything and plotting not only an escape, but how to kill every single fucking last one of them.
Before you walk away, though, Troy, Vicky will reach out for Roger and go, wait, and pull you back and whisper to the three of you. I know. I understand. I don't understand the kind of situation we're in, but I understand that to get out of it, we're going to have to work together and we're going to have to stay calm. I just,
Hey. No reason to cause a scene.
I'm not. Listen. Asa Darabandi is here. He's in the common area, and he was just telling me about how he thought he killed someone last night. I think we should go talk to him. I just wanted to warn you. I don't want you to freak out.
The architect.
How is this? How is any of this possible?
I thought he would be at the top. I thought he would be the supervisor. I don't understand why he's here. I don't understand.
Guys, it's great seeing you and all, but I don't feel like, and he says it really low under his breath, smiling for the camera. And then he walks away.
And the three of you look up and you see a little red light blinking in the corner of a camera that's recorded everything you just said.
I whispered it. And Vicky turns and walks away.
While looking at the camera suspiciously.
Yeah.
But she does. She walks back to the common area.
Okay, I'm going to just retcon the bare buttocks. I don't want any bare buttocks running around. Because the more I think about it, like, they don't have you in a surgery gown. Like,
you wear like pants and a shirt.
You're in like pants and a shirt.
Yeah.
We're not getting a colonoscopy.
My apologies. Yeah, you're not 5 minutes from a colonoscopy.
I ordered the deluxe package.
I ordered the deluxe package.
Yes, actually I am.
I figured while I'm here.
Crappy hotel.
I'm due.
Vicky purposefully looked for a surgery gown in the room to change out of her jumpsuit and into an open back surgery gown. And then she changed back, realizing it made everyone uncomfortable.
Okay, so Roger leads the way out into the common area. Roger, you open it up and you see that there are a few patients in there.
Does it look like the first common area? Like the walls a different color here now, or is everything moved around, or does it look like a mirror image of the original?
You open up the door, walk through, and it is not the common area from the original hospital that you were in. And you know it because it's just larger. It's about 3 times larger. And is not just a rectangle like the other one was. It kind of has, an interesting shape to it. There's a few walls that bend in interesting ways toward the northern end, where it's almost like parts of an octagon or something like that, right? Where there's kind of some diagonal walls. And there are still plants and chairs and things like that in there, tables, but they're you can't remember exactly, but maybe a slightly different make than the ones from the other hospital. So go ahead and everybody give me a sanity roll. Also, as you pass through as well, Vicky, you see no sign of Asa Darabandi. You see other patients that you don't recognize.
God damn it.
I failed 64 over 58.
Ooh, 22 under 36. Yes.
Ooh.
So near it. So near the breaking point.
50 under 63.
Man, Vicky doesn't fail sanity rolls.
78 over 28. And that does bring me below my breaking.
You're at 28?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Neil's playing it great, too. I mean, the rat thing, the let's get some cheese. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is that it's not just insane. It's it is not insane. It is incredibly, it's so on the nose that sane people can't understand it. It's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's he's I think he'd feel more uncomfortable in a sane environment.
Yeah.
This feels like the outer world reflects more what's going on inside of him. So it's he feels more at home.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And this rat's in a maze looking for the cheese. That's exactly what this is. So Neil and Roger failed, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You guys both take 1 point of sanity damage. Those that succeeded take 0. As you realize if this room is different, it's really going to be difficult for you to wrap your head around where you are or how at all to move about this place or do what you wanted to do. All right, so go into the common area and tell me what you want to do. I said you see some men in the common area. You see a 30-something guy. You see a slightly older guy, and you see a middle-aged guy with curly red hair and big thick glasses. And they're each kind of doing their own thing, like reading a book or something.
Deborah's not there anymore either.
Deborah was in the woman's common area. Yeah.
I'm gonna walk up to and sit near the red-haired, curly red-haired guy.
The nerd.
Yeah, the ginger.
The ginger.
Punch him right in the face. No.
Get out of here, nerd. This is jock country.
Are there windows?
Are there windows?
Are there windows in this room?
There are.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But they're small. There's only 2, one on one side, one on the other side. And this is a very big room to only have 2 windows. So it feels like a windowless room. And the windows have bars over them. Bars that are on a lock that could be opened, right? Like a door. Like the bars could be opened, then the window could be lifted. Yeah. That kind of thing.
And the
bars are all painted white as well. Yeah.
Like a public school.
Like a public school. Exactly.
Okay.
So we see Roger. He leads the way into this room, and he takes a seat next to this middle-aged guy with curly red hair, and the guy looks up at you, the glasses. He's like, "Oh, hey, Roger, how you doing?"
Good. Do you can't remember? Did they let us smoke in here?
Yeah, you can smoke in here. What are you, crazy?
You don't happen to smoke, do you?
I don't have any on me now. No. You got to go check them out from the the first floor, the first floor common area.
I don't know. Can I go down there?
They regulate the cigarettes. Yeah, you can go down there. You'll be fine.
Right. Maybe I'll do that. Anyways, how are you? Sorry, I'm a little had a terrible nightmare. Remind me your name.
Gary.
Gary.
Hello, Raj.
Gary.
Topchick. Gary Topchick.
Gary.
Topchick. We know Topchick.
Topchick.
Vicky would have let Roger know before.
What are you talking about?
Maybe Vicky's ears perk up and she walks over.
Sure.
Oh, that's one of the bottles, right?
No,
One of the pictures.
Shit.
She goes over and she goes, Topchick.
Hey, Vicky, how are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah, me too.
How long you been in here?
In the hospital, I don't even know anymore.
Or like what year did you come in?
What year did I come in?
Yeah.
I mean, I came in this year, 72.
Yeah.
Vicky goes, yeah.
Vicky goes, is there
this year.
is there a water fountain or like a water cooler here?
A water cooler? Yeah. Right outside.
Excuse me. She's gonna go take a huge gulp of water. Topchick is one of the pictures of the blank expression people on the night floors, as was Darabandi, as was Deborah Carver. It's also on it.
This was last season.
Jesus.
You got all these names.
And it meant nothing to us.
Yeah.
And I think she kind of looks at Roger when she walks away, like at the Topchick name, and she goes, he knows what that means.
Is there like a nurse or orderly like visible in the area?
Not in the common room right now. If you want to leave it, walk for a minute or two, I'm sure you'll bump into somebody.
Yeah, I imagine that loss of sanity. I really need a cigarette.
Okay. All right, why don't you, so let's say you step outside. Whatever you want to say. All right. I guess I'll see you, Raj. Christ.
And he'll walk by.
People don't have any manners anymore.
He'll walk by Vicky as she's at the water cooler and like just gently put his big giant bear paw on hers and say, "It's okay."
It's not okay.
And then he'll go to try and get a cigarette.
Roger. She grabs him. I need you to figure out how we're going to get out of here.
I'm working on it.
They told me that I never had Sam.
Don't listen to them.
They told me that he doesn't even exist.
Just smile and play along. And he looks down at the floor. He's like, all those years, you were waiting for them to call. Well, you got what you asked for. So now, let's just play the game.
She nods.
And I'll see you later.
Right on her nose.
What the? And then he goes to get a cigarette.
You see Mr. Ed, the guy who you had attacked. Maybe a matter of hours ago. You don't know. Time is very strange. You've been out of it. You were tranquilized. You woke up from it in restraints. You spoke to Maximo Friend, who said, "You can't do that again, Roger." And you were very calm, and you were very "Won't happen again, Doc." And he was like, "All right, I'll send somebody to open your restraints." While waiting, you dozed off again. And you woke up. So time is kind of very strange. And you see Mr. Red there, and he just steps up to block you from going down this spiral staircase that was not there before to lead down because Gary told you could get smokes if you checked them out from the first floor.
Right.
And he just sort of gently steps kind of in front of you and is like, "What's going on, Roger?"
Roger takes a very non-aggressive pose. Maybe he's even like holding his arm. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, my good man. I just, I was wondering if you or perhaps someone could get me a cigarette, if that's allowed. I just feel a little tense.
Yeah,
Wouldn't mind a couple
no problem.
smokes."
No problem, Roger. Go ahead. I'm going to escort you, but you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
And you start going down these steps, and Ed is following you. What's Bobby doing? Ever since you walked into the common area, you saw this brief exchange with Gary. Vicky came over. You were looking for a window. What's going on?
So Bobby's taking in the surroundings, looking around. He sees the window, and he's thinking there's got to be a way to situate himself there to find out where exactly he is. So he goes over to the window.
Okay.
Just to see what's going on outside. Just take a look and see, and also examine the window, see if there's any way to unlock it.
Okay. So, let's see. You go over to the window. You look out. You see it's nighttime. And it's a little bit hard to see because of the lights that are on in here in the common area. There's a reflection off the window. Go ahead and give me a search roll.
Search. Ooh, my search. Okay. All right, come on, baby. Ooh, 40 under 44. Ooh.
40 under 44. Amazing. Okay. You look out of this window and you see the best way to describe this, you look out and the first thing you notice is glowing lights in the distance, 3 of them in like a triangle that are kind of far out in the distance. Like you get as close as you can, even with these bars. You're trying to like block out the light so you can see a little bit better. And you see that there appears to be a building out there that is really large, rises up into the sky, and comes to a point, almost like a skyscraper, except that it doesn't have that boxy feel of a modern skyscraper. It sort of has the curve of like a Kremlin or something like that.
This is awful.
Yeah, and there's just, you're only seeing like a silhouette of it basically, because the points of light are like kind of framing it a little bit. It's really hard to see, and that's when you see a flash of light in the distance. And the entire sky in the background lights for a moment, just briefly. And then it goes dim again. And even though when it lights, it's very, very dim. And it goes again. And it gives you memories of working as a station chief in Aleppo, of what artillery looked like at night. Like if you saw artillery hits in the distance at night. You don't hear anything, you don't feel anything, but it seems like shells hitting and exploding far, far, far off in the distance and like flashing and lighting up the sky. And when it does, it silhouettes this massive building that has no business being there. Give me a sanity roll.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, no, man. Okay, come on. Holy crap, 31 under 36.
Wow.
I'm rolling hot today.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So you feel as if you are in a place that you were not before, but this makes you almost feel better, I would say, with that roll.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like, okay, I'm not insane. Like this place is not where I was before, and it actually is comforting to you in a way. Let's interpret the roll like that.
Okay.
But you don't know where you are.
Right. And I still have to, Bobby realized he still has to keep the facade of like what the doctor told him. Like, otherwise they're just gonna tie him up to his bed. So he takes a deep breath. He looks back, and Murnau's still in the
let's go to Neil. Neil, what are you doing?
Okay.
So who else is there besides Top Chick?
There were two other guys, an older gentleman and a younger guy, like 30s.
Like sitting at one of the tables?
Yeah, they're just like sitting in their own, yeah.
All right, I think Neil also desperately wants a cigarette. More than anything. Does anyone have a cigarette in here? Top Chick has one, right?
No, he said he didn't have any. And no, it seems that if you ask, nobody around mentions having one.
I'm going to sit down next to the younger guy.
The younger guy. Okay.
Yes. Pardon me, do you mind sharing your table?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. Neil, I was just sorry. I was lost for a second in thought. How are you?
What were you thinking about?
I was... I don't like to talk about it. Just, the war. Always the war.
The war.
And you can see he rubs his eyes together with like a pained expression. Like he's just trying to if he could just push the thoughts out of his own head. That's how intense he seems to be pushing his own face.
War never changes.
No, it doesn't.
You've never spoken to me about your experiences in the war, have you?
Well, no, Neil. I felt like that was something for the doctors, and I felt it was smartest if I, just kept doing what they said, which was don't frighten the other patients and stay on the straight and narrow, and I could, get out of here soon. And I'm supposed to get out of here soon, but it just keeps getting. Something's wrong. Something is definitely wrong.
Well, doctors are doctors. They have their scripts that they follow you. They'll give you choices from a menu, won't they? I mean, I know I was one in a former life. Perhaps I find sometimes it can help more to speak to someone who isn't a doctor, someone closer to you.
Yeah, well, but you're a doctor.
I was. I'm not really a doctor.
Were you a
psychiatrist?
psychiatrist?
Of sorts. But really, all I am is a friend right now.
Well, I wonder if you've seen the puppets. Have you seen them?
I have seen puppets before. You've seen them here.
Yes. I told you about them before, and you said you didn't see them. But and I swore they were here, but we talked about just talking among friends, and that's just something that I haven't told the doctors. I mean, not in the last few months, because that was, I thought they might keep me here, and I was so close. I was so close to getting out. And I just, I didn't want to tell them, but I feel like I'm seeing them even more now.
Doctors can punish. They can punish you for telling the truth.
Yes, and they can keep me from going home, and I just don't want that. I was so close.
Where is your home? How are you going to get out?
I live in New York, actually. I was progressing. I'd been here for a couple of years, and I was making really, really good progress. And the whole sad story. I mean, I got back from Afghanistan, and then I was, I had PTSD, and I had that incident at work. And do you remember me telling you?
Tell me about the incident.
it was just, there was just I worked at a gas station, and there was they brought in some old truck. Some guy had truck from like the 70s or something like that. And it was in the yard, and they were going to bring it in, and the guy started it up, and it backfired. And I was in the office at the time because I was ringing up this customer for, her gas, and I just thought, when the explosion happened, I could almost see the glass shattering into the room, and I dove over the counter, and I grabbed her, and I landed on her, and I tried to protect her from the explosion, and I wanted to keep the glass from cutting her skin, and she was screaming, and I was screaming, keep your head down, everything's going to be okay, and of course, it wasn't real, and she wanted to press charges for assault, so I ended up here, and working with Dr. Dowling, and he was really helpful, and I was really making some really good progress, and I understand now what's happening. It's never going to be gone, but I'm controlling these feelings a lot more. I'm not suffering from the acute depression that I was suffering from, and I was spending almost all my time on the first floor. So I was just so close, and now these puppets out of nowhere. I don't know why. I'm seeing fucking puppets.
Bobby hears the word puppets, and it perks up in his mind, remembering back in the night floors where he saw, or rather it was the bar in like the last season, where for a second he saw everybody with strings being played like marionette puppets.
Yeah.
So he's been leaning over and listening the whole time, and he just comes over and says, I get it. I know how it was. You'll get better. I used to think the same thing, seeing puppets everywhere, but I mean, the only puppets that are out there, are Sesame Street, right? I mean, there's actually, we'll get better. You'll get better. We'll get down to that first floor, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just ready to go home.
Yeah, me too. Me too, buddy.
I need
Next time you see a puppet, tell me. Please, come get me. I can help you.
I will. Thanks, Neil. You've been really helpful.
Just remind yourself, I am who I am. That helps in a place like this. Say it. Say your name. Remind yourself.
I am who I am. Rudy Valader. I am who I am. Yeah, it helps. Thank you.
Rudy
Valader.
Rudy Valader.
$150.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell. I'm going to look through my notes, but that could have been a name I missed.
I don't see it.
Rudy,
I don't think you have anything to do with the plot.
You're unimportant to
you're
me.
Not offended.
Thanks for the waste of time, Rudy. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for wasting my
Good job
fucking
helping
time.
the one.
Let me not even say they fucking puppets.
Good job
let's-
consoling that NPC who we'll never see again.
Where's Vicky?
You did any healing?
Vicky, I think, went back to the women's floor, seeing that Roger walked away, like trying to be normal. Seeing Roger walked away and the guys are like on the guys' floor. She kind of takes her glass of water and walks back to the women's common area and wants to see if Deborah's there.
Okay. Yeah, Deborah's still in there, and she's just sort of got her sitting in a chair with her legs crossed. She's just kind of like lost in thought.
Deborah.
And we can go back to the whatchamacallit, the evidence board. If you want, you can see a picture of her there now. I don't know if you guys saw it before, but
Yep.
Yeah.
she's there now.
She looks nice.
Yeah.
Deborah.
Hey, Vicky.
And Vicky sits down next to her. If I ask you questions, can you just answer them without asking me why I'm asking you?
Yeah, of course.
Because we're like that, right? I can talk to you.
Yeah.
Asa Darabandi in the male wing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I get sad when I see him here. It's sad. I never thought that he'd be here. I never thought that he would kill somebody. You know, he doesn't seem the type. He was always so buttoned up, you know, always so professional, and I was in awe of him at the Hotel Broadalbin, and he just brought such a grace to every room that he walked into. He was really charismatic, you know, and JC was a big fan of him, and so I ended up.
Jesus Christ.
Not Jesus.
No, Jace.
When he loves us all.
No.
Equally.
JC
Chavez.
JC Lintz.
Oh, Linz. That's one of the other names.
Oh, right.
Oh, shit.
Lintz.
You remember? I was his assistant. You remember?
At the
Hotel Broadalbin.
I always said Broadalbin. Is it Broadalbin?
Broadalbin, yeah.
That's embarrassing for me.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it is.
But Darabandi designed the hotel.
Yeah, he did. He was, what a remarkable mind. And, you know, to think and she looks around. I mean, what could have happened to his mind to do what he did to those children? I can't even.
And what about Lintz? What is he doing?
I haven't seen him, honestly, in a long time because I've been in here trying to, recover, trying to get well. If I want to get back, I have to get well first.
He never visits you?
No, we don't have visitors here the same way as a normal hospital. You know, they feel like when you're visited by people too often from your old life and you're an addict, it can kind of create relapses. And so, yeah, I'd like to think he's trying to get here, but I don't think he is. He's very busy.
You've never left, right?
Never left?
The hospital.
Not since I got in here, no.
Right. And you haven't had any visitors?
No.
Right. Fuck.
What's the matter, Vicky?
I just feel like, do you ever have a weird dream and you feel like it was so real and it throws you off for the day? You wake up and you wonder, did I do that? Did I tell somebody that? It just seems so real. Do you think they would let me have a cigarette?
Yeah, of course. You just gotta go downstairs. They just keep all the supply. You know, you're not allowed to carry around your own supply. That's all.
Would
down on the first floor.
Would Nurse Sambagina or Dallin or anybody be around?
Who?
Right. Right.
I don't know a nurse by that name.
Yeah, I think it's my dream. I feel I'm gonna get a cigarette.
I think you need a smoke, sweetie. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're fun. You're kind of like you're like the fun one, right?
You know it. That's why I'm in here. I'm trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get. You don't want anything, right?
Mm-mm. Sunshine, you want anything? and she calls across, and you see somebody you haven't noticed before. And over in the corner, sitting in a wheelchair, is a woman who is definitely in her 90s. Like a very, very old woman. And she's just sitting there, sort of looking at the floor. She doesn't want anything. I'll see you soon.
Oh, who's that?
Vicky, Sunshine. You know Sunshine.
What's her name? What's her...
I don't know. We call her Sunshine. She doesn't really speak.
Right. Vicky's gonna walk over to Sunshine.
Okay. Vicky abandons the cigarette and moves over to Sunshine. Let's go to break. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back in a second.
Saint Michael brings out his holy sword, places his heel upon the neck of the serpent. For now, the hour is struck, the trumpet has been sounded, the dead shall walk again. The serpent comes, but upon all of them he shall place the mark of the beast.
But we're back, and Vicky had said that she wants to go talk to Sunshine, and a very, very old woman on the floor. But before she does, I want to cut back to Roger arriving down on the first floor and having his opportunity to get a smoke. Roger, you get down to the first floor, and Mr. Ed is sort of like shadowing you right behind you. And you walk down, and there is like I said, you walk down the spiral staircase, you get down, and it opens up into this like big lobby. It's a much larger area than you remember before. And there's a very small, like what looks like a check-in desk up near the front where the front doors are. And the front doors still seem to be there, although the doors are slightly different in terms of their cut, their design, whatever. And away back in this room is a counter, glass wall and like a little opening underneath it where you could pass medication, that kind of stuff. And there is a young woman standing behind it, and she's in a nurse's uniform. And you, Ed, sort of like, it's like after you, and you walk over to this window, and the woman says, "Can I help you?"
Yes. I wanted to get some cigarettes. Can I like take a whole pack, or
no, Roger. No, you can't take a whole pack, but you can we can sign out 3 at once. And would you like 3, Roger?
3 would be great.
Great.
Do you happen to have my lighter?
Your lighter? No, Roger. You don't have a lighter, but Ed can help you out with that.
Ed. All right. Great.
And so she passes 3 cigarettes through the thing, and you see she opens up this little like tally book, and she makes a note, and she just puts 3, and they're just very plain white, unfiltered cigarettes through the thing.
No branding on them.
No branding, just white.
Can I ask what brand these are? Are these hand rolled?
I don't know. I don't buy them.
Oh, okay. Do you know who does?
I don't. I'm sorry.
All right. Maybe next time you find out, and then you'll be able to answer my question.
You're funny.
We're having a good time. Takes the 3 cigarettes.
And you turn around, and Ed is just like holding a lighter.
Oh, slow down, Chief. He takes 2, and he's trying to find a place to like hold on to them so that they don't get ruined. And he just realizes he's just gonna hold them in his sweaty palm.
No pockets.
And he's like, actually, Ed, now that he knows his name, you can say no, I'm sure you will, but could we smoke this outside? I don't like to smoke indoors. Even though he's smoked inside every place since season 1, including like hospitals.
Hospitals.
Ed is just like, you're hilarious, Roger. Do you want a light or not?
I'm not asking to go out there alone. You could come with me. I just want to get some fresh air.
No.
All
You can't go outside. Here you go.
All right. And he blows the smoke right in his face. Oh, I'm sorry. This wouldn't have happened if we were outside. Back upstairs?
And then you hear, can I get a little of that? And our camera will pan past Mr. Ed, who's such a big sort of figure, to another man who's behind Ed. Big guy. Also, not as big as Ed, but big, in a patient's uniform, holding a cigarette, and begins walking up, tilts his head up with a cigarette to put it in his mouth to get a light. And Roger, you get a look at this guy, and as his face hits the light, you see that it is disfigured, like top to bottom, as if it's been like burned, as if he suffered really bad burns on his face. And it's kind of a square, boxy face, big guy, and he just puts a cigarette in his mouth, and Ed lights it, and he looks at you, and you see something you haven't seen yet since you got to since you've woken up in this thing. Your interaction with Gary, your interaction with Ed, your interaction with Maximo Friend, they've all had something in common. They all know who you are. This guy looks at you, and you see this look in his eye, and he just gives this, like his head tilts, like he's never seen you before. And then his eyes look up at Ed, and look back to you, and he just turns around and starts walking away.
Which direction is he going? Does he go back upstairs?
He's going to, like, there's a first floor common area.
All right, so my intention was to go upstairs, but Roger notices this, and it's like, can I smoke this down here, or do I have to go back upstairs?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Thanks. I'm gonna just
behave.
Hey.
Just behave.
Of course. He starts walking, blows it out of the side of his mouth right in Ed's face.
For Christ's sake. You're an animal.
We should go outside. Smoke wouldn't be a problem.
And you just hear this barrel laugh as Ed's like, outside, and starts walking up the stairs, leaving you alone.
Leave me alone. So Roger he's going to take a second to do an alertness on the room. Just taking, Roger, he just constantly is casing the joint, taking in every little thing, realizing that he now has a weapon in his hand. Fire. 2.
Oh,
Under 82.
Awareness?
002.
002.
You're looking around for dangers. You don't notice anything in particular. down here, it's this kind of a big expansive area, but again, there's just like very few people. You do notice a couple orderlies walking through and past. Again, people you've never seen before. You're not recognizing any faces from the Dorchester House, that you had seen originally. And you don't see any threats.
Okay. Just taking it in, looking at every face, memorizing every face. And he walks over to this little common area where the melted face guy is.
Yeah, this big guy with disfigured face sits down in a chair and just starts smoking a cigarette, and he's just looking the other direction from you.
Roger will sit in a nearby chair.
Roger sits down, and the guy slowly turns, gives you like a side eye, and his lips are kind of like mangled, and he's just like, "When did you get here?"
I've always been here.
Smooth. I don't recognize you. You're a new arrival. So, who the hell are you?
Name's Comestone. Roger Comestone.
The name's Wild. W-I-L-D-E. You can call me Mr. Wild.
Mr. Wild. Why the long face, if you don't mind me asking?
That's personal, isn't it?
Are you afraid I'm going to tell that goofy orderly?
No, I just believe that information is better left kept private until it's valuable.
I should see the other guy?
There was no other guy. And you see, actually, let's do a roll for this. Give me an awareness. Roger's the most aware dude I know, but this could be big.
47 under 82.
Oh.
You see as he's smoking that he sets down there's like a small end table between you, and he sets down a small book. Like a subconsciously, right? Like it's not even thinking, he's just talking to you, and he just sets down this book kind of just to get it out of his hand and goes back to smoking. And as you're sitting there, you, with your heightened awareness, notice you've seen the book before. The book is the same little notebook that Ed Myler-Wist was holding and was like writing notes in.
Oh.
It looks like that same little book.
Have we seen Ed here in this phase?
Mm-mm. So before we talk about me, let's talk about you. How did you get in?
Well, I was a bad boy, Mr. Wild. As you could say, I've always been a bad boy. But, my luck ran out.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. You are in a very, very important place. Now, you don't want to be here too long, but you want to be here. In fact, I think you're very lucky. Very lucky.
Why's that?
Well, you've been called. The king was calling you. You've been chosen. It is quite a gift.
Right, the king. Well, I always knew I was special. That, book you got there, an old friend used to have a book that looked exactly like that. Guy by the name of Ed Wist. You heard of him?
Ed Wist. Can't say I have.
Weird little guy. used to carry around a book looked exactly like that. He'd write in it with a little green crayon.
That is very interesting. And he reaches out, takes the book, pulls it back closer to him. That is very interesting. All I know is, when I go to sleep, I wake up, and there are notes in this book. Notes that I didn't write. And usually what's written in here, it happens in the world that I'm in. It's a very special book.
Have you ever written in the book? Or did you just read it?
No need. I don't know where it comes from. Perhaps this whist you're talking about. On the other side.
Maybe. Would you, be interested in perhaps, trading that book for something?
Oh, listen. I'm afraid I could never part from it. You might even say it is me. It is my life. It is what I do. If you wish to be in the book, we could talk about making that happen.
All right.
Do you have another smoke? I don't want to walk all the way back over there, and I'm low.
He looks down. He's got 2 clammy smokes. Sure, Mr. Wilde. Here, just be careful lighting it.
Oh, thank you, Comstone.
Please.
So you come alone?
Call me Comstone.
I did. Something wrong with you? Like, you cracked?
What do you want to know?
Did you come here by yourself?
In a way.
What the hell does that mean?
Well,
Did you come here by yourself or not? It's a yes or no.
Yes.
And what are you looking for? You're looking for the king. You wanna, reach the king.
Not really, Mr. Wilde. Not really. I could honestly give 2 shits about the king.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he gives 2 shits about you. And I wouldn't throw that aside.
I once met a king.
Did you?
The King of America.
The King of America. And who was that exactly? And this smile comes to his face, this contorted smile.
Roger's trying to remember both his name and whether or not he killed him.
His name was Henri de Calvados Castaigne.
Castaigne.
And you know what? Let's start. Let's go to the board here. Not only am I going to drop Mr. Wilde for you. Sorry, I was just in the zone. That was really fun.
That was
Pretty good.
Not only am I going to drop Mr. Wilde for you.
Oh,
man.
Whoa, he's freaky.
The artwork is so unique. It looks like real photos that have like an AI makeover.
right.
So, so there's Mr. Wilde. But then, I don't want to discourage you guys. I want you to use this board. This board is not for me. It is for you. And remember, you can grab anything you see in here. So, we could remind everybody of what, professional looking, cleaned up Asadara Bondi looked like. There was also this that we saw back last season.
Oh, yeah.
Darabandi with
I hate that one.
With the children.
God.
What do you hate about that? It's a lovely picture.
No.
It's the girl on the left.
The stuff of nightmares.
It's so fucked up.
No, that is the stuff of nightmares.
It's awful. I'm not looking at it anymore.
I'm not looking at it anymore. And then, the guy who we're talking about here, Henri de Calvados-Castaigne. Throw him down right there.
I don't think I killed him.
You did not kill him. You did not kill him.
We tied him
like
up.
Stan Lee.
I think we tied him
the
up.
Stan Lee cameo.
Yes, it was the Stan Lee cameo from season 4.
I thought we tied him up. We detained him for a while.
You didn't tie him up from my memory, but you detained him in his own apartment. You were like,
we went through his books, and
you went through his books, and he was like, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Yeah.
I don't remember his accent off the top of my head, but you were like all over his shit. But then you feel like Roger, with your high awareness, you felt like you heard his voice in Barbas's house. There was like you heard this accent. And then you talked to Barbas about it, and he was like, "Could it be Castaigne?" And Vicky was like, "The night manager?" And you were like, Barbas was like, "What are you talking about? Night manager? Manager of what?" But he did mention that name, Castaigne, and this is the guy who you knew as the King of America. So we can go back to that if you want.
Was that a voice that we heard coming from the bookstore?
No, it was a voice you heard coming out of the window of the house, speaking to a woman who Roger saw in the window and then wasn't there. And then you heard her voice. You guys were like in the backyard looking up at that window.
Right.
And you heard voices like on the wind coming out of the house. And then you went in the house, at night and everything, and nobody was there. So it's very, very, all very strange, obviously. But this guy, the King of America.
Yes, his name was Castaigne. I actually thought about killing him. But I didn't want to commit regicide.
Yeah, you didn't want to kill a king. Well, it could be Castaigne, maybe. I've heard his name. But there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
A lot of kings?
Yeah, well, a lot of them think they're kings. A lot of them think that they are part of the imperial dynasty of the Americas. And there's a book somewhere, a list, and they all interpret it however they want. They say, this one, that's me, I'm related to so-and-so, all hereditary and everything. But I'm not one of them. I'm just a guy. There's a guy who wants to put in the work, and meet the real one. The real king. The one king.
Right. The one king. Very cool. So talk to me about this book. How do I, let's say I was interested in being a part of it. I got nothing but time on my hands here. How would I go about doing that?
And he smiles. Well, first, I need to ask you a few questions about who you really are. And then we'll cut away from that back to Vicky in the women's ward. We see her, you walk up and settle down next to an old 90 plus woman who's in a wheelchair, and she, is just sort of like sitting there, is not acknowledging your presence at all.
Vicky leans toward her ear, and she says, "My name is Victoria Ricci. I know about the night floors. I know about Darabandi and Lundeen and the supervisor and Abigail Wright and Michael Whitwer."
And you start to get some sort of reaction out of her when you mention the name Michael Whitwer. That's the first time you get a reaction.
"I'm trying to help him."
And her lips are like moving and kind of smacking together. Little guttural sounds are like kind of coming out, but you can't make anything out that she's saying.
Vicky looks for like a piece of paper or like a magazine and like a crayon or a marker or something. Is there something in the common area that she could grab?
No, there's no markers or pens or anything in the common area. All of a sudden you get this memory of like, you know that there's no markers or pens or anything in the common area because they're dangerous, they're weapons, they could be used against the staff, and you know that you are able to, under supervision, use certain art supplies as part of art. So if you wanted to paint or wanted to color or do things like that, like it is encouraged by the staff and they oversee it and everything, but you have to go into a certain room in a certain area, you know, and into the craft room, and you're allowed to do that there. And all of a sudden, all these memories wash into you, and you start to think that you've been here for years. Roll a goddamn sanity check.
You just want me to
Fail
lose
a single
points.
sanity check.
I can't. 52 under
Damn.
63.
She's way too level-headed.
Stone cold.
Yeah, well, I'm still giving you one. Take 1 point of sanity.
Fine. Watch
It's going to be a
this.
1/1d20 to get you caught up with the rest of your team.
Yeah, 60. I got 62 now. I'm doing fine.
Dude, you're so good. It's amazing.
She regained all of her points, if we remember from
That's
her
right. From
time
your
period.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you were researching into this and you found out more about Darabandi and more about Barbas at the time, the name in the play, you know, that Westover was a part of and everything.
She grabs Sunshine's hand, not too tight, and she says,
Crushes it.
she breaks her wrist backwards.
Oh my God.
She holds her hand. She says, I will break your wrist if you don't fucking tell me.
It's been a while since we did some elder abuse. Come on.
Give me that wheelchair, you old bag.
You don't need it. She says, I know. It's okay. I'm gonna have us do art. You and I, we can, I'll be right back. And she would like to go find one of the nurses and ask permission to do art.
Well, you have to go to a certain room in a special place that you know is on the second floor, and you could just bring her with you.
Yeah, I would like to just
She's in a wheelchair.
wheel Sunshine to the art room then.
Okay. Let's check in with Neil and Bobby. What are you guys doing?
So, are we still with Rudy? Is Rudy still there?
Right. You were talking to Rudy, and yeah, we finished with you being like, why did you waste our time?
Right.
You're not plot relevant.
Okay, so Bobby took a look out the window. He realizes we're somewhere else. He's got a better grasp on things now. He goes over to, or I guess Rudy's listening, right? We haven't gone completely away from him. Is he like in our
Yeah,
space?
no, Rudy's still there.
Yeah. Would I be using Murnau as his name? No. I'm wondering if like in my therapy here, am I trying to, because it's basically like I started right after the Night Floors. Like I came directly there right after the Night Floors happened in the last season. So I would still have knowledge of them, or did I make up, or does the Dr. Friend believe I made up the Night Floors completely and Delta?
No. Dr. Friend says you are a Delta Green agent
Okay,
that was
okay.
sent to the Dorchester House for
Right.
psychiatric care after exposure to the unnatural that you suffered in 1995 on the Night Floors.
Right.
So you would know these code names, you would know these people as members of your team, and what he's telling you is that the whole life you think you've had for the last 20 years, you've made up as a coping mechanism for not wanting to be in this facility.
Right. Okay.
And so, sorry, so Rudy was saying that he's very close to getting out, and he wants to get out, but he was seeing puppets. And then remember, you were saying,
Right.
I saw him too, but like it's just not real. It's fake. Like
Right.
we're gonna be fine. We're gonna get out of here.
Right. So Rudy, how the sessions been going with Dr. Friend? They're getting better, right?
He's strange. I don't. And he's looking around. He doesn't want any nurses to hear or orderlies to hear. He's like, I feel like he doesn't have the same. With Dr. Dallin, I always felt like he wanted me to get better. You know, I felt like he wanted me to get well and get out of the hospital. And with this new guy, this friend guy, I feel like he always asks me about, other things that I see. He asks me about the door in Dallin's office. He asks me about how if I ever have dreams of the man in the white mask. Like he asks me these questions that make me feel like I'm crazy, and I feel like he's just trying to like drill down into something or find something in me that he wants for himself, not that he wants me to get better, Sorry. And you can tell he's like getting riled up, that he's like not a fan of Dr. Maximo Friend.
Right. No, it's okay. It's okay, Rudy. Just calm down. I understand. Yeah, I don't get such a good vibe from Dr. Friend either, but when was the last time you saw Dr. Dallin?
Dr. Dallin, it's been weeks. Maybe months. I don't know. Time is confusing, but I guess he was transferred or something, but no one wants to tell me about it.
Right. And the man in the white mask?
What, now you too? I don't know any man in a white mask. Why are you asking me about it?
You brought it up. I don't know. I thought...
Friend keeps asking me about it. That's all. I don't know anything about it. He seems to think I'm lying, but I'm not.
It's okay. I believe you. We believe you. It's just... we all just want to get out of here, right?
Yeah. Have you tried? Like really tried, you know what I mean? Like not getting released, but just getting out. He like looks around, fearful of eavesdropping.
Yeah. So Bobby leans in. I don't know. I don't see any way out of here. I looked out the window. I don't recognize where we are. Do you know where we are?
No. And like his eyes like start to go wide, and you can see that he's trying to control himself, but he's so scared. Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Hey, Mrema, what do you think? You wanna?
I'm not there.
Oh, he's not there.
I've got going over to talk to the other guy.
Okay. Oh,
I abandoned that guy. I was like, this guy's important.
Okay. Sorry. Rudy, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna get better. We just need to, calm down and just listen to Dr. Friend for now, and we'll figure this out. But yeah, don't fret. Just calm down. We don't want him to keep us any longer than we've already been here.
Mm-hmm. And almost like saying his name summoned him from the ether or something like that. The door of the common area is thrown open, and there is Dr. Maximo Friend. And he pokes his head in, and he's just like, okay, Bobby and Neil, please. The rest of you are good. We'll talk later. Bobby, Neil, follow me, please. It's time for group.
Sure. Yeah, Doctor.
You stand up and start walking with him?
Yep. He gets up, follows Dr. Friend to the door.
He opens the door for you, walks out, and he just starts walking away. I'm sorry, I have to retcon something. I apologize. I mentioned the art area was on the second floor. That is incorrect. It's actually attached to the common area on the first floor. So let's cut to Vicky with Sunshine, and I could see this crossing over so that you are wheeling Sunshine into this room, in this common area, at the same time as Mr. Wilde is like, well, that depends on who you really are, to Roger. And in that moment, you come wheeling Sunshine through the door, and you see Roger and this man sharing a cigarette and talking by the window. Cutting to you, Vicky.
We're going to do art. Sunshine and I.
Such a horrible dream.
Just trying to turn the wheelchair.
Really rusty.
You say we're going to do art. Sunshine and I. Roger, seeing Vicky come in with this old woman, go ahead and give me another
sanity.
Yeah, give me an awareness roll.
Alertness.
81
under 82.
Oh, wow. He's wow.
Let me just make sure that's not a
Amazing.
7. Yeah, no,
That's-
81.
That's as good as it could possibly get if you
If it was opposed.
if it was opposed. Yeah.
Make it opposed.
81 under 82. Yeah,
Wow.
because of the Delta Green, the way that works, sometimes I consider that to be even, higher than like a
crit.
2. It's fun. Roger, you turn, Vicky says that she's going to go do this, and you look at the wheelchair, and you see this old woman sitting in it, and your perception is so tight, so intense that, and you're always on the lookout for danger or something being off. And as your eyes slowly roll up to the old woman, she's just sort of like not looking at you, just kind of like staring at her knees, basically, her head slowly shaking. And as you look into her face, something occurs to you, something deep, something real, and something incredibly shocking. You recognize in the drawn features of this 90-plus-year-old woman that it is the face of Dr. Lyra Westover.
Oh, shit.
And we will see you next week.
Come on. What?
Oh, man.
Oh. You're laughing like a crazy person. You're a maniac.
This is my shit.
Oh, wow.